What is up, everybody? It is Wick here. It's time for a BOLO video. Be on the lookout for these items at thrift stores and garage sales, Facebook Marketplace, anywhere really, because some of these are worth a lot of money. It's been a couple months since I made a video like this, so if you do enjoy these types of videos, do hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed, comment, get the video out there. I really do appreciate that. So the first item I'm going to talk about are these New Balance shoes, 990s in particular. Some of these can sell for a huge amount of money, as you can see here, brand new. Even pre-owned, sometimes they go over $1,000. Now, some of these are really high prices. I want to say can be wrong, inaccurate, but the point is these things sell for a lot of money and they're very desirable. New Balance is just one of those pairs of shoes I've been selling since I started selling shoes on eBay years ago. Because they're solid sellers, you can sell a lot of them for an average of $30. So if you find them in good condition at a rummage sale or thrift store for like $5 or less, you can make some decent profit on them, especially if they're a unique size. I've sold some pre-owned pairs for close to $200 myself, so certainly some good ones out there. I don't know exactly why these 990s, this particular Loro shoe is, raw cast shoe. Not sure exactly if there's any history behind it. If you know, you can mention it in the comments. But a lot of these new, you see pretty consistently, over $2,000 anyway. I don't know if $6,000 is accurate, but I would say $2,000 for a pair of these is looking like the accurate price. Here's some different ones. Kith Tornado 990 V3s sold for over $1,000. And these JJJ Ound shoes, I'm not even sure how you're supposed to say that, but I remember recording in Goodwill, had it on a video, and I was looking at these New Balance shoes, which was pretty dirty, and I'm like, they're just basic New Balance shoes, right? I don't want to take the time to clean these, buy them, deal with them. Mistake, apparently, because people say, those are 990s, what are you doing? I had no idea. I did pause the video and I Google lensed the picture, and it came up a different shoe, which was still selling for like $80, so it was a miss either way, but I don't think it was anything like this that I missed. It just goes to show you, like, I've been selling New Balance shoes. I had no idea that they went this high, right? I know Nike, Jordan, stuff like that will, but the New Balance here, just kind of crazy. Just consistently new for $900. So if you're getting these pre-owned, here's a pair of pre-owned, still sold for $875, $829 pre-owned, $800 pre-owned. Here's $741 pre-owned, right? I'm gonna have to do some research on the JJJ Jown stuff, because I don't know if that's a brand I'm not aware of, some high-end brand like Balenciaga or something, right? When you thrift, you don't find a lot of Balenciaga stuff, even though I have sold some shoes for $500 Balenciaga, which is the only reason I know about them, honestly. There's not a lot of luxury items in Ohio, let me tell you. But here you can see, not just in the $800 price range, you can still find plenty of different pairs for around $100, $200. Here's a Danner boot collaboration. It looks like I've sold Danner boots for $300 plus by themselves. Here's some sort of model, $200, $200 for these different names of people I don't know, I guess, just sponsoring the shoes. Here's some 990 V3s, hot chocolate brown, $200. I've found shoes like this before, right? That looked like that had the brown suede, but they weren't the 990s. I don't know why people want certain numbers. I guess it's just what they're used to wearing. They're probably shaped different, but certainly worth looking out for, these New Balance shoes. Here's an item that is on my bucket list. This is so cool. I really want to find one day. And this is a McDonald's Big Mac hat. And you can see one sold with 44 bids for $465. Just really cool. This is the kind of thing you can easily find at a rummage sale. You can find at a garage sale. People are going to get rid of these things. They're not going to think they're valuable. And you can pick them up for 50 cents or $1. Now, some of these, $3.55, $300, $2.85, you got consistent high dollar sales on some of these. $200, $200, $159. And these things, there's more sold than what's listed, so this is very desirable. It's weird how some of this stuff, like other McDonald's employee hats, typically not worth much at all. From what I know, I believe this is the most expensive McDonald's hat that's out there. Here's one that sold for $133 with 30 bids. Maybe it has some damage, but I would never do an auction on something like this because you just never know where it's going to go, right? He probably could have priced that if it's in, decent enough condition and $233 and it would have sold. If you do international shipping, there's a lot of people that buy this kind of stuff internationally, especially in Japan. They like this weird vintage American style. Just big money in this kind of stuff. So keep an eye out for anything unique like this. Since we're talking about the Big Mac hat, let's mention the ashtrays real quick. I think I mentioned these a few years ago on a video. It's hard to keep track of what I've actually talked about. I know I've mentioned them in thrifting videos when I'm looking at ashtrays and stuff, but these amber ashtrays, anyone that remembers, these used to be at the McDonald's. I remember growing up, the smoking section had a bunch of these. Now they are desirable. People want them and are paying over $200 for them, sometimes up to $300. Again, this is something that could end up at a rummage sale or a garage sale, a thrift store, and may not be priced high. People might not know exactly what it is. This is also kind of on my bucket list ever since I learned about them. I'm just like, I really want to find one of these just because I love finding the vintage stuff. I say that a lot. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. I spend too much if I see something I like. But yeah, $150, $160. Here's even a different type of one, some ceramic one that sold for $150. And you can imagine how many of these existed, right? At every McDonald's, and they probably just started throwing them out when stores closed or they quit using them, and employees maybe took them home. There's an abandoned McDonald's not too far from me. It's been shut up and boarded up for like 20 years now, and I always think, I should break in there. Maybe there's still some ashtrays in there. I'm joking, of course. I'm not going to break into an abandoned McDonald's. So when I was thrifting, I mentioned these in a video when I was looking at the Plush. So I figured I'd throw them in here. I had a question about them, and that's these Stife, which I might be pronouncing that wrong. It's a German brand. But some of this stuff, especially the vintage, older stuff, can be worth a lot of money. Here's like an Alice in Wonderland teddy bear, which is $1,580. I'm getting distracted by this ad over here, which I don't know why it's up because I have ad block on. Kind of annoying when you're recording a video. Here's a 1930s Minnie Mouse. Of course, that's going to sell for over $1,000. Some sort of Japanese teddy bear. That's a samurai. $1,300. And some of these, they look pretty basic. They just kind of look like teddy bears. That obviously looks like Mickey Mouse. But like this one here, this one's 47 inches. Interesting, $1,000. Next time I see one of those giant bears at the Goodwill or thrift store, I'm going to be sure to check the tag because usually I just ignore those things. Look at this. I've seen trees like this. You see sorry, it looks generic, tree that's kind of like a plush. I'd probably just glaze over that unless I had time, like a Goodwill or thrift store, and I was just focusing on everything. At a rummage sale, I'd probably just walk past that because it doesn't look like anything special, but one sold for $975. Got Holy Grail in the title. I think that's what makes reselling so fun, is just the kind of items like that. And the purpose of these videos is to point out items like that where you just have no idea that these are worth $750. But this stuff is very collectible. I've sold a Winnie the Pooh plush. I got a Salvation Army. I remember it had the box and the little paperwork, and I sold it for $200, maybe over $300. I just can't remember. It's been a few years. So this stuff does sell well because I've actually sold it. The tigers look pretty cool, right? With the two cubs. And I've seen that kind of stuff around. I don't know if that exact one, but just something to keep an eye out for. Here's a more modern day Minnie Mouse, and it's still sold for $650. Again, another basic looking teddy bear that can be over $500. Here's some sort of Christmas sleigh, even interesting. A Hello Kitty. Looks like they got their hands in some various IPs, but could probably scroll forever, right? And I just keep seeing interesting Stife stuff. Just always look at the tag. I'm going to be brief on this because I don't know if I've talked about it. I know I found one of these Simple Human mirrors. I mentioned it there, but I don't think I had it in one of these videos because I found this after my last BOLO video like this, I think. But just a basic looking mirror can sell for, $200, $250. These Simple Human stuff, they make trash cans, they make soap dispensers and stuff like that. The more I talk about it, I feel like I've had these in a video already, but the one I found was pre-owned. I replaced the charger cable. I think I sold it for $80 and it sold very quickly. Again, it's just one of those items that you wouldn't expect that have value unless you knew what it was, right? Just a little makeup mirror. Here's another thing that until within the last year, I did not realize had value, and that's this bear brick stuff. I've seen these out in the wild before. I was under the impression they were just cheap knockoffs of like pop figures. You see different brands trying to jump into that stuff. Well, they're not. Some of these pre-owned are selling for thousands of dollars. Big collector's market for them. Like here's a Darth Vader one that sold for over $3,000. You got Ninja Turtles ones. Here's a pre-owned, I don't know, just a gray looking one, right? I remember seeing these at a thrift store, just laying on the shelf. I picked it up and I'm just like, who knows what I missed. Now, there's a lot of them that's not going to be worth this much, right? There's more that's not really worth it. So not every bear brick, you find is going to be worth a fortune, but there's enough high value ones that it's going to be worth paying attention to. Here's a Krusty the Clown one. Very cool. $550. A Batman one, $550. Here's another one of those gray ones, $560. Here's a FaZe Clan, which is interesting. FaZe Clan is like a esports team, right? And you got more of these Calls ones. Bathing Ape, I don't know, $480. Michael Jackson Werewolf one, $500. Just a very interesting thing to keep an eye out for on a table at a rummage sale that might have one of these sitting on it. It's too late in the year for me to do a dedicated Christmas video, I think. I've made a couple in the past, but I figured I'd throw a few items. Some of my favorite Christmas items to look out for, because this stuff is just really cool and can be worth a lot of money. So Avon Christmas Advent Calendar. A lot of these just came with Avon subscriptions. Did Avon have a subscription? I don't know if they did. I think they just had catalogs and people bought from them, or they gave gifts, right? And I think this is one of the gifts. So you find a lot of these sealed, and which is good because they have a little mouse. This Advent calendar, you put the mouse in the little pouch every other day, or every day, I guess. So the mouse is what really makes it profitable if you can find one with the mouse, or just the mouse in general. See if we can find some of these actually new here. There's also an Avon Christmas tree Advent calendar thing that sells really well also there. Okay, here's some pre-owned. They got the mouse in there, still selling for around $200, $188. And again, it's just one of those things that they don't look like they'd be that special. In fact, I saw an Advent calendar very similar to this at Goodwill just yesterday, and I thought, is this the Avon one? I couldn't remember exactly what it looked like, but it wasn't. It was just some off-brand, generic, maybe even handmade felt one. I know a lot of people that watch my channel also, they want to sell video games and watches and gold and stuff like that, the higher end stuff. They don't pay attention to Christmas stuff. And when I first started, I was the same way. I'd go through these sales, I'd look for, video games and anything sealed, and then I was out. I wish I could go back 10, 12 years when I first started and focus on these Christmas tables, the shoes, and all that kind of stuff, because I probably left tens of thousands of dollars out there. But I was also focused on selling on Amazon more, so eBay wasn't as big back then for me, but still, just a great item to look out for, especially this time of year. People will buy them almost immediately if you price them right. Also last year, I sold an Advent calendar cross stitch, and I sold that for about $200. And here's some of those real quick, just brand new. Most of the time you're going to find these brand new, but even pre-owned, some of these like Dimensions and Bucilia and other brands are selling decently for good money pre-owned. I can't remember which one I actually found. I paid $1 for it and I sold it for like $180. It might have been one like this. I also sold an Advent calendar radio that Hallmark made. Change the station every day. That sold really well too last year. Just always pay attention to this Advent calendar stuff. Always pay attention to Evergleam trees. I had this in a video last year. I really enjoyed the comments because I had people telling me that they found one in the trash and sold it for like $5,000. There was even a woman that's like, I still have one of these in my attic. So she had no idea, right? And obviously some of these are more rare than the others, like the pinkish one here sold for $10,750. Some of the bases can even sell for like $500 on these. These are aluminum Christmas trees. It's on my bucket list of things to find, but the average price, you're probably getting $1,500, $2,000 on most of these, right? Here's something that's a newer item and they're easier to find. They're, not really old. Hallmark released these snowman bells. They synchronized musical lights. And a lot of these bells, even some of the vintage ones, I remember selling some last year for like $180. That wasn't the Hallmark. People like them. So if you see any of these, there's a good chance you could still find them new, even pre-owned, you're still selling them for over $100. So just something that just glancing at, they just kind of look like bells that light up, but they're actually worth a good amount of money. Next is another item that can be very deceiving. And we kind of learned about these on a Radio Shack video that I done, because this Radio Shack had a Leatherman multi-tool that was selling good, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to mention these in a video, do some more research on some of these multi-tools just to see what they're selling for. Pre-owned, some of them are insane money, and of course if you find any of these new, they're worth more. But here's one, looks like just a basic tool. I'm not a huge tool guy. I have lots of tools. I use them when I need them, but when it comes to stuff like this, I don't know why that would be $370. I guess mostly the brand. It's just like a knife multi-tool, some more of those, but insane how much some of these sell for, and you just would not think it looking. There's a bag of all kinds of pliers and stuff at Goodwill in a recent video, and I picked it up and I was looking to see if there's any sort of multi-tool in there. That was why, is mostly because of this kind of stuff. And you know, multi-tools, so many different companies have made those. So the Leatherman is what we're focusing on here, which is a good name for this kind of stuff. Some pre-owned 200 with a pouch, and we can scroll for a while, right? This is how you know stuff like this is valuable, because you just keep seeing consistent comps. So again, been saying this a lot in this video, just something that you would not expect to be valuable and should be watched for. We're still up here in the 200s. I bet there's a lot that will even sell for like $30, $40. So if you're getting them for $1, it's still a good profit. Now, this is something that a lot of people are going to be like, of course this is worth money. This is a brand I learned about like a year ago that was this valuable, and it's Yeti. They make coolers. Very high-end coolers. I don't know why people pay for this stuff. I guess it's just a brand image thing, right? Because I can't see how this cooler could be much better than, you know, $100 cooler or something like that. But what do I know? But some of these Yeti coolers, pre-owned even, can sell for over $700. Obviously new. I have new items filtered out so we can focus on the pre-owned. But finding something like this new is going to be more money. Like, look at this Yeti cooler, $475. And these things, if I was to go to the sports store down the road, they would be charging about $300 for them new. So they sell for a lot in the store as well, which that means it's one of those items where go to a garage sale, they might remember what they paid for it, but doesn't mean they still wouldn't price it like $40 or $50. It'd be worth paying for. Make sure you look up the model, because, you know, not every one is going to be selling for $400, but worth your time selling one of these. If you can get it for $50, a lot of these people are paying for shipping on this stuff as well. So I was pretty amazed when I learned about this about a year ago. Here's a soft-sided backpack cooler even for $385. It's the brand thing. But you can see here they also make tumblers, like this camo looking one. It looks like just any other tumbler. $350. Today I was thinking about this, and this is why I added them to this video. I was in Goodwill, I was looking at the tumblers. I'm like, it's actually exciting looking through tumblers now, because there's so many Yetis and Stanleys and stuff like that that actually are worth reselling. And that can be really cool, right? When you're looking for a $300 item and a bunch of glasses and tumblers at a Goodwill. You get a little bit of an adrenaline rush, and then you don't find anything and you just move on. But one day. But yeah, this camo one is very popular. See if we can find some others, what they sell for. Here's just a basic green one for $150. Some very basic ones. Looks like a box of them for $135. So definitely some lower end ones. 1 gallon jugs, $130. Stackable 6-piece, $115. So even if you're finding some of these for a couple dollars at Goodwill, and you can sell them for 20 or 30, some of these basic ones, it's worth it, right? But the limited edition Duck Hunter camo looks like any other camo tumbler, but is actually worth money. But there it is, everybody. That's what I got for you today. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you found any of this stuff. Let me know in the comments some of the stuff you found this year that you had no idea was actually worth money. People drop some really good knowledge in the comments of these BOLO videos, so I really do appreciate that. It helps me learn. Before you go, though, I'm going to ask you to hit that like button for me. Make sure you're subscribed. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, flipping_junk. And this has been Wick. Till next time.